Freedom of Information Bill, and I think it bears saying again, even though it's been said before. This, I think, has to be my greatest disappointment with the Selangor government, because as journalists, we were really looking forward to a Freedom of Information Bill. And then when the bill came out, it has like 6 missing ingredients, and these are international best practices. And I take my hat off to the Center for Independent Journalism for having done this research and for having put it out there, right? And here are the 6 international best practices that are missing from the bill. 1, maximum disclosure is not mandatory. 2, exemptions are not clearly defined. That means that the state can, without any clear definitions, decide that this piece of information I will not release. In any good piece of Freedom of Information Act, you need to have exemptions that are very, very clearly defined. On top of that, exemptions can be included without any kind of legislative intervention, meaning the state can just go ahead and do it and declare that, okay, this is off limits, it's off limits to the public. 3, there is no clause that protects whistleblowers. 4, there is no obligation for routine publication of just the run-of-the-mill kind of information, the stuff that you see, for example, on the statistics department, the stuff that you see published at the Department of Environment's website. So there's no obligation on the state to do this routine publication. 5, it does not determine the cost of asking for information. And as we know, freedom of information, in order for it to work, needs to be cheap and it needs to be simple. Worse, it actually says that an individual can be fined 50,000 ringgit if you ask for information for one particular reason and you end up using that information for something else. You can be fined 50,000 ringgit. And also there's an issue about the appointment of the administrative oversight body, which is similar to the appointment system that's used in Suhakam, and we all know that there are problems with that. So my question is this. Actually, there is a draft bill that was prepared by civil society. It's an excellent piece of legislation. It was worked on by several groups. It was prepared. They presented it to the Selangor government. And yet the Selangor government came out with a bill that is, really, really disappointing. My question to the Selangor government is, what stopped you? What stopped you from putting in place best practices? What stopped you from doing what civil society had already thought through for you, researched for you? All you had to do was to take best practices from this piece of bill and incorporate it. By not doing that, it suggests to me, and this is also an opinion that Sonia Randawa, who wrote a column for us about the problem with the Selangor bill. The assumption on the part of Selangor government is that this information actually doesn't belong to the rakyat. It belongs to the people in power. Because if you believe that the information rightfully belongs to the rakyat, who pay taxes and who vote you in, then you wouldn't make it so difficult, and you would really, really ensure that there was maximum disclosure, for example. You would ensure that it would be cheap and simple for people to get that information. Right now, I think the underlying factor or underlying attitude is that actually we still want to hold on to the information now. But we promised we do a freedom of information bill, and of course it makes us look really good, and it sets maybe some benchmarks for the other states to follow. So we'll do it, but really it's I would have to say,